Yo, what's the deal? Master Clee back here with another video. Look, today I got a real deep subject, and it's about the marriage between behavior and belief. Shout out to my guy Wall Street Trapper for that analogy. He did say that behavior is married to belief, and I absolutely agree with that. Before we get started, I want to just say this, that I personally think that you will never consistently act in a way that's inconsistent to what you believe. I'm gonna say it again. You will never consistently behave in a way that is inconsistent with what you believe. So what you believe is directly determined or interconnected with how you behave. So keep that in mind. Now, I found this out at a really early age. Growing up as a black kid in a predominantly white state, I always thought personally that life was gonna be a little harder for me, right? And I think a lot of black folks, we have this collective black experience that makes us think that life is just gonna be harder for us. Where does that come from? Well, it could come from some trauma passed down through our lineage. It could also just come from some of our internal programming. But me personally, I always thought that I had to work harder. I always thought that I had to act a certain way. I always thought that I had to make sure I didn't fit the stereotypes that people had in their head. So school especially, school was really big. I told myself for years that I'm just not a school person. I'm just not good at school. I hate school, right? When in reality, I just didn't apply myself. But that belief that I was attached to showed up in my results. I averaged a 2.2 GPA in high school. But if we fast forward to, just last week, I finished up my last semester of college and I averaged a 4.0 in school. So what changed? I'll tell you what didn't change. No part of my brain changed. The only thing that changed was a simple mindset shift. And that mindset shift was my belief about what I believed was possible. Let me give you an analogy, all right? Our mind is a supercomputer, and beliefs, they are the software that runs that computer. If the software is outdated, if the software is faulty, the computer's output will always be off. You can try to manually override it all you want, but eventually the programming will always win. And here's another wild thing. Scientists estimate that by the time you turn 30, 95% of the decisions you make are made subconsciously. That means that most of what you do on a day-to-day basis is not a conscious decision. It's not a conscious choice. It's a programming that is running on autopilot in the background of your mind. Now, why is this important? Well, understand that for me, it wasn't just school. I used to believe that if you didn't come from money, you couldn't be rich. I used to believe that if you didn't have a wealthy upbringing or your family didn't have no bag, then you just wasn't gonna be in a class that had money. And why did I believe that? Well, because growing up, the only people I saw with real money in my community, in my neighborhood, were people that had money growing up. My brain connected those dots and locked in that belief. So understand that because I believed this, my behavior matched it. The only people that looked like me that I saw with money were rappers, actors, ball players, and entertainers. That's it. It wasn't until I learned and got exposed to more people doing real things, and another concept that I found from my guy Neuro Knowledge, that all truths are half truths. Just because you believe something does not make it true, right? And his quote is, there are no truths in reality other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. So what does your subconscious mind accept as true, right? There's multiple examples of this. There's ladies in the world right now that think that they can't get a real opportunity in their life because they're a woman. They don't feel like they can be a CEO because they're a woman. There's men right now that's under 6 feet that don't think that they can get any girls because they're not tall enough. There's people right now that don't think that they can change their life around, and they may be from the hood and they just feel like they're a product of their environment and they're meant to stay there, or whatever their case. Understand that there are no truths other than what your subconscious mind accepts as true. Now, why is that important? Well, going back to what we said, if 95% of the decisions you make are subconscious, then if there are no truths in reality other than what your subconscious mind accepts as true, then you'll behave only in a way that is in alignment with what your subconscious believes. So it's very important that we start to audit some of our subconscious beliefs, our conscious belief. Like, why do we believe those things? Where does that come from? Where did my belief that because you don't come from money, you can't be wealthy, where did that come from? Well, it came from just what I seen, but that doesn't mean that it's true, and it's not true at all. I got money now. Okay. I ain't got money. But like, I didn't come from money, so I had to reject that belief. But I feel like you might not have the same story, but I guarantee that you've got your own version of this somewhere. You may believe that you're not athletic, so you never even try to play sports or get fit. You may believe that you're not a people person, so you avoid contact. You avoid networking or relationship opportunities, or you say that you're just an introvert or you're shy. You may believe that you're not smart, so you don't push through the hard learning curves when shit gets tough. Understand that these things are not personality traits. These aren't things that make you you. These are just decisions. These are programming. These are truths that you have programmed into your mind. And you've been running on these programs so long, you think that that's actually you. You adopted those. That don't mean that that's you. You just adopted those beliefs. And here's the most important part. I get a lot of clients, I get a lot of people in general that come to me and ask, well, how do I disassociate from this? How do I change this? Well, the first step, and what I really want you to understand, is that behavior change without belief change does not work. You cannot change your behavior without changing your belief. Most people get frustrated because they try to change their actions without changing their beliefs. Someone says, I want to be successful. So they start a side hustle. 2 months in, shit starts to get hard. 2 months in, 2 months in, they start to face some real adversity. Sales start to slow down and their old belief starts to creep in. And then they start associating with, man, I'm not a business person. I'm not business minded. I don't know what I was thinking. And they throw in the towel. They quit, and they don't quit because they didn't have the ability. They quit because the behavior was trying to fight the belief that they never replaced. But I really just want to talk about today, how to change your beliefs so that your behaviors are in alignment with what it is that you want and what it is that you truly believe, right? The first step that you need to do is you need to ask yourself, what do I truly believe about myself in this area of my life? I don't want you to guess. What I want you to do is I want you to look at your actions, and your behavior should be a mirror to what it is that you believe, okay? So number one would be identify the current programming. That's number one. Number two would be reprogram the belief. Reprogram the belief. Now, how do you do that? Well, first you got to expose yourself to new opportunities. You got to expose yourself to new beliefs. Expose yourself to examples that contradict your limiting belief. Understand that repetition is key. Do things like affirmations, do things like visualizations, but back them up with proof, even if it's just really small micro wins. Okay, that's number two. And then number three is you want to start aligning your action with your new identity. Once the belief shifts, align your action so the new identity becomes natural and effortless. I'm not saying that you should try to act successful, but what I am saying is adopt it, be successful. Become the kind of person who sees success as themselves. Become the kind of person who sees success as inevitable, as it's only a matter of time. That's who I would like you to be, and that's number three. So understand that you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not none of those things. What you are is you're just running on old software. Change the programming and the behavior takes care of itself. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pick one belief right now that you know is genuinely holding you back. And then I want you to spend the next 30 days proving that that belief is wrong. And I don't want you to do it by like taking action harder. Instead, I want you to start thinking differently. Reprogram your subconscious mind, and then just start acting from that place. Behavior will always follow belief every single time.